Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. My name is Luis Ortega. If this is your first time here, please subscribe, like, and comment below. If you'd like, you can also leave me a message at luisortega@luisortega.com. Just email me, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Today's video is going to be about the state of the movie theater industry. This has been a very contentious thing because obviously many movie theaters have lost a ton of money and a ton of profitability over the past year. This is not what any industry wants to see. Obviously, you don't want to close down your only source of income. And unfortunately, due to the pandemic, that's what the movie theater industry has had to deal with for the past year. However, we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And more so, we're starting to see that a lot of these movie theaters might be bouncing back a lot sooner than a lot of people give them credit for. Obviously, I've only been to the movie theaters for a total of 4 times or so in the past year, and this is unheard of for me. Typically, I will go to the movies at least once a week, religiously. To me, the movie theater experience is just such an unbelievable experience. I don't look at movies just for the entertainment of them. I really break down movies for all their parts. And when I think about a movie and I think about just going into a theater with my friends and seeing a movie and experiencing something together, making a memory that will last forever. I mean, I still remember the very first movie that I saw with my dad. And we're talking back a long time ago. I don't want to age myself, but it has been a while. And I remember walking with my dad in New York City to go see a movie. And my dad, probably not the best parental thing to do, but he took me to see a very scary movie. But I still remember to this day the movie theater, where it was located, how we got to New York City. And I was very young at this point. I want to say I was probably, 9 or 10 years old. But I remember it like it was yesterday. And there's not a lot of memories that I have from my youth, but I have a ton of memories, and a lot of them revolve around things that I did either on my way to go see a movie with my friends or family, or experiences that I had revolving around a movie or a TV show or some piece of entertainment. So for me, entertainment is incredibly valuable um, to the fabric of who I am. And I think it's valuable to a lot of people. I think entertainment really does give us some escapism. And in this day and age, escapism has been very, very important. If not for streaming services, if Blockbuster was still around, good Lord, Blockbuster would have made $1 trillion in the past year because there hasn't been a ton of new content. And if not for streaming services and be able to stream new content directly to your house, a lot of people would be very, very upset. This is, it's almost for many people, this entertainment is a safety blanket. It's a way to escape from your everyday problems, to kind of shut your emotions and your brains off to what's around you, and just kind of indulge in the experience of a movie, and share that experience with somebody in your family or somebody that's with you. And taking the movie theater out of that, I'll be honest with you, for the past year, it's been really difficult. I mean, I've never not gone to the movies in my entire life. There's never been more than, I'm going to say, like a 3-week period where I physically am able to go to the movies, but I don't go to the movies. And this past year was very difficult. I mean, it feels like I lost so much content. I know that all these movies are eventually going to release, but some of the movies that have released directly to streaming, it's great to have the content, but there's certain things that I've seen that were streamed that should have been released in the theaters, and now that they're not released in the theaters, I'm missing that connection to those movies because I don't have that communal experience where I sat down with a bunch of random strangers and we all enjoyed or did not enjoy something together. There have been movies that I've gone to see in theaters that were god awful, but I experienced it with other people. So I know that there's plenty of other people that are in the same suffering that I am. So it's joint joy, but sometimes it's joint suffering, but it's still the experience. It's still the ability to just go. And unfortunately, for the past year, this is what we've seen throughout the United States, throughout Canada, and throughout the world. Theaters that are closed, that you can't go in, that there's nothing. And it's been really sad. I know a lot of people that actually work in the movie theater industry, and it's been very difficult for them, because what a lot of people don't realize is the movie theater itself is a very important part of an economical ecosystem. And sure, all the studios are obviously trying to get streaming to become their new platform, their new way to go. But streaming does have its limitations. Part of the movie experience, as I said before, is the communal experience. So as a purchaser of the content, if I see it at home, I'm obviously not going to absorb that content the same way that I would going to a movie theater. Going to a movie theater, I have to focus that I'm going to invest this exact amount of hours in going to the movie theater, sitting in the movie theater, watching the entire movie, whether it's 1.5 hours, 2 hours, or 3 hours. I'm invested for that time. And I know for a fact, especially for the directors and the writers and the people that are the creatives behind these movies, you've seen a lot of pushback from a lot of these creative directors and these people, because they built their vision based on you experiencing this a certain way, consuming it in the movie theaters. And now you're consuming it at home. And think of it this way: if you're a comedian and you're on stage and you're going through your entire show, and at some point in your show, somebody gets up and goes to the bathroom, it disrupts the entire audience. But more so, it disrupts the comedian, because the comedian is watching this person walk away and not consume the material that they've created and they spent time toiling and perfecting. That person is walking out on you. And so now this material that you made to be consumed a certain way is now not being consumed the way you want it to be consumed. And for movie directors and for writers and for the creators of all these materials, they feel the same way. Christopher Nolan, some people might not like him. They think he might be a little bit full of himself, but he works relentlessly and tirelessly to bring the best possible product, to present the best possible product. You may not like the product, and that's fine. You don't have to like the product. There's a lot of movies that I don't like, but I tell you what, behind that movie, there are hundreds of people that work their asses off to make that movie. So even though I might completely crap on the movie for being just a horrible movie, I still appreciate all the people that put the time and effort into making that movie. And the only way that we can show this appreciation is really by going to the movie theaters, putting down our hard-earned money, and saying, yes, this is good content. I want to see more from this director. I want to see more from that actor. I want to see more from this studio. Here's my vote. I'm voting with my money. And if you're sitting at home and you're just consuming content from your TV, sure, every month you're paying your subscription fee for that streaming service, but it's not as quantifiable as going to a movie theater. And then they get to see, hey, in this weekend, we sold $150 million worth of tickets. We sold this many tickets. We put this many, butts and seats. The butts and seats index. This is how many butts and seats we put. This is how much money the revenue was produced per theater, per screening. How many seats were sold? How many tickets were pre-sold? All of this stuff, that's tangible. Streaming, none of the streaming services really give the information of how the streaming is going. I know for a fact that if Kong vs. Godzilla did not release in the movie theaters, if you think about it, right now, worldwide box office, that movie made over $100 million in its opening weekend. $100 million its opening weekend. Average ticket price, depending where you're at in the world, let's say that's $10. That means, 10 million people left their homes to go see a movie. If I'm doing the math right, God, I hope I'm doing the math right. This is live. But if I'm doing the math right, if there's 100 million people and the average ticket price is $10 a ticket, then technically maybe 10 million people around the world saw that movie last week. And we know that that's important because just yesterday, Kong vs. Godzilla released, and this morning they released the first day opening box office numbers. And Kong vs. Godzilla actually made about $9 million on a Wednesday in the middle of a pandemic where you can only fill the theaters to 50% capacity. So to me, that's an incredible sign that people want the content that they want and they want to consume it the way they want to consume it, and they want to do it in the movie theaters. They want to see this sign going up, now open. And this is what we're seeing throughout the world, around the United States. More and more movie theaters are opening up their doors because people are being more responsible about the way they handle the pandemic. And it's becoming a little bit safer and safer for people to go out. We're getting more vaccinations. And this is a great sign for the health of the movie theater industry. If they open the theaters and they maintain open and the studios continue to provide content, then people are going to start going back to the movie theaters. People want to go back to the movie theaters. Again, this is the tapestry of the world. Movies and going to movies on dates with friends creates experiences that sometimes last a lifetime, whether they're with your friends or your family, your loved ones. Like for me, I've only been to the movie with my dad maybe less than 5 times my entire life, like physically with my father. And I still remember all 5 times, maybe 4 times. I was really little once. And the way that all these theaters are going about doing this is really great. I mean, I went to an AMC theater right kind of in the beginning of the pandemic. So I went to see Tenet. And when I went to see Tenet many moons ago, when it first came out, I was very impressed with the way AMC was handling themselves. Unfortunately, the numbers spiked and they closed the movie theaters down again, at least in my area. I ended up driving almost 4 hours each way to go see Wonder Woman in the movie theaters. Now, was it worth the drive for that particular movie? The movie itself wasn't that great, I'll be honest with you. However, when I got to the movie theater, AMC was still handling their business. Everything was clean, everything was professional. Everyone in the theater was keeping their mask on. Everybody was social distancing. AMC had put safeguards in place. They did an amazing job. And I felt very, very safe. And they continue to do an amazing job. Now when you walk into every AMC theater, at least in my area and that I know of all over the US, you have to put a mask on. If you don't have masks, masks are available for purchase. Some of the AMC theaters, I think, even give you them for free. During the show, they ask you to keep your mask on if you're not eating or if you're not drinking. And in the theater that I was in, I was very surprised by the amount of people that walked in with their masks, took their masks off to drink or eat, and then put their mask back on. I was also very impressed with the amount of stations that AMC had throughout the entire movie theater for hand washing, for sanitizing. Again, an unbelievable job. Even at the concession stand, when I went to the concession stand, it was a 100% touch-free concession stand. So, there was a plexiglass between myself and the person taking the order. The person was wearing gloves behind the counter. They were wearing masks. Everybody online was wearing masks. All of my food was handled in a very sanitary way. It was always handled even before this in a sanitary way, but you could see the extra attention they were taking to providing all of the drinks and sodas and everything in a very sanitary way. I was really impressed. There was no money. They were only allowing for credit card charges because they didn't want to have to exchange money, because obviously then you're making some physical contact with money. I don't know if that's like that all over the US, but I actually don't have a problem with that. I prefer to pay with either my phone or my credit card to keep it touchless. The concession stands themselves were incredibly clean. I saw somebody there that was still wiping them down. All of the snacks, all the straws and the condiments and the napkins, you ask for them, they're provided for you. They're not left out in the open so everybody can touch them. It was a really great experience. I gotta say, I was really impressed with AMC. Whoever set up their guidelines internally really needs to get a huge pat on the back, because what they're doing is they're setting they're creating an environment where you can go in and you can feel safe. And that's not an easy thing to do, because I know there's political aspects where people don't want to wear masks and so forth and so on. I'm not about politics. I don't really care. I'm more about making sure that I'm safe and that the people that I'm with are safe and that other people are safe. Because again, unfortunately, COVID, you could be sick and not even know it, and you can pass it to somebody else. And it's a horrible, horrible situation. And when you walk into the movie theaters, right here on the left-hand side, you see they have buckets of sanitizer all over the place. They have towelettes of sanitizer. They have hand washing stations. They have sanitizing stations. AMC is really doing it right. And this is very important, because the safer that they make people feel, the more people are going to want to come to the movie theaters. And I really feel that the movie theaters are going to slowly make a comeback. I never once doubted that movie theaters were going to go out of business. I never once doubted. Now, with that said, they've lost a year's worth of revenue. Some of the places that these movie theaters, for the most part, don't own the buildings that they're in. They rent. So they are backlogged on a year's worth of rent. However, last month, or about a month and a half ago, when the Wall Street bets thing happened, by the way, thank you guys. I had bought AMC stock, and you guys, I bought a lot of good stuff. But when the whole Wall Street bets thing happened, in one day, AMC made so much money. Even though the stock went back down, they made so much money in that one day that they actually negated, supposedly, this is what they've released, they negated all their losses for the entire year of last year in one day. So Wall Street Bets didn't just screw some of the biggest hedge fund people in the world that were short selling. Inadvertently, they actually helped AMC stay afloat. Even though AMC had already secured funding that would get them through an entire another year, in the event this year they couldn't open again, they already had funding in place to keep them in business for the entire year, even if a movie theater didn't open up. And they'd also already restructured a lot of the debt that they had owed. I think AMC is going to be in a great place. I think Cinemark is going to be in a great place. I know Cinemark or Alamo Drafthouse recently filed for bankruptcy protection. Bankruptcy protection does not mean bankruptcy. It does not mean that the company is folding and it's selling all its pieces. Bankruptcy protection allows you to restructure your debt so that you can stay in business. I love Alamo Drafthouse. I think it's a very unique product. It's a great place to watch a movie. The ambiance is unbelievable. I hope they don't go away. I don't believe that they're going to go away. And I think if we as a culture continue to be very vigilant in the way that we conduct ourselves when we go to the movie theaters, if the movie theaters themselves continue to enforce these guidelines to make sure that their patrons are kept safe while they visit, the movie theaters are going to be able to ride this wave out. And I think they're going to come back. And as soon as new content comes out, I think they're going to kill it. I'm really looking forward to going back to the movies shortly. I definitely want to see Mortal Kombat in the movie theaters. I believe I might have access to an early screener for that movie. But even if I see it at home or I see it at somebody else's home, I still want to see it in the movie theater. Like there's never going to be something that it replaces that experience. And these two little old ladies, I don't know where they're at. I hope they enjoyed whatever movie that they saw. They had their mask on. They had their hand sanitizer. They had their towelettes. They had everything else. And really, that's what we need. We need everybody to just work together, cooperate with one another, and we will move on. The box office is there. Godzilla versus Kong has shown if you put out a quality product, if it's something that people want, they will go to the movie theaters. And the studios want this. As much as the studios want to get your streaming dollars, they do not want to leave money on the table. Think about it this way. Avengers Endgame made over $2 billion. Even when they split that with the studios and, it's Disney, obviously they're not going to split it with the distributor because they're the distributor. But even when they split that money with the theaters, they still walk away with a very I want to say they probably walked away easily with over $1 billion. Easily, over $1 billion. I understand that their streaming service is on track to get them to the point where they'll be making $1 billion a month just from the streaming service. That's a ridiculous amount of money. Congratulations. If they're not already making $1 billion a month in their streaming service and they own their own content, so they don't have to actually license or pay anybody, it's all profit to them. It's just found money. If you told them, hey, you're going to make $1 billion a month from your streaming service, if you take this one movie and you put it directly on your streaming service, you're still making $1 billion a month. However, if you take this movie and you put it in the theaters on this 1 month, you're going to make $2 billion. No company in the world says no to money. Disney will gladly say, you know what? I think we'll make the theatrical window 50, 60 days, and then after 60 days, then we'll put it on our service. If you think about it, not all of their movies have come out on their service for free. Raya and the Last Dragon was a premium service. I guarantee you, they did not make the money at $30 a pop on their streaming service for Raya that they would have made if Raya was in the movie theaters. Think about how much money that stupid-ass Croods movie has made. The Croods has been in the box office now for like 18 years. The last Crude movie has been in the box office for about 18 years. And that movie has actually made some serious coin. And that's the Croods. That's not even Raya and the Last Dragon. That's not a true Disney animated movie. Raya would have easily made well over $100 million in the box office. So if you tell Disney, hey, this month you're going to have $1 billion on your streaming service plus $100 million for Raya and the Last Dragon, they would absolutely take that to the bank. And that's why none of the studios want to see the movie theaters fail. None of the patrons that go to the movie theaters want to see it fail, and none of the movie theaters want to see it fail. The entire industry, at least the theatrical movie industry, needs theaters. And I'm glad to see that they're coming back. I'm hoping that they continue to grow. I think they'll continue to grow. I'm not ready yet to pull the trigger on reactivating my AMC stubs because there's not enough content that I see available. But once I see that new content is going to be available like on a bi-weekly basis at least, I'm ready to pull the trigger, go back into my AMC stubs program, pay for the next year, and hopefully enjoy going to the movies for a very long time because now we're open. The theaters are open. We're going to have a great time. Everybody, if you're going to go, enjoy it, but please, please be safe. Be respectful of those around you as they're being respectful of you. And if they're not, AMC has done a great job. I did see somebody not allowed into the theater because they didn't have a mask. They actually ended up providing the gentleman with a mask. They didn't charge him. I know that they sell the mask, but at this particular theater I was at, the gentleman forgot his mask. It's not like he was trying to cause a scene. He just forgot his mask. They provided him for his mask, and he was able to continue watching the movies and enjoying himself. Once again, thank you for listening to me ramble on about how much I love movies and how glad I am to see that the movie theaters are open again. If you like my content, again, subscribe, like, leave me a comment. I love getting back to the fans and anybody that reaches out to me with questions. And please look forward for more of my videos. I'm going to try to do some live streaming soon, so I'll be scheduling some of that. And if you subscribe, you'll get notification that I'll be going live. Thank you very much. Have a great night. Take care of one another, and I'll talk to you soon.